way back when she thought it was a good idea.
We've got the regular board meeting of the next one.
She did all that stuff. She did all that stuff.
And I'd like to do, we've got everybody on Zoom as necessary, and this meeting is being recorded, so I'd like to do a call to order. Roll call, please.
I was going to second
Commissioner Bueller. Present.
Commissioner Lane, Commissioner Ringmore, here. Commissioner Weaver,
Here.
Commissioner Wells,
Here.
Commissioner Weber,
Yes.
President Greenfield seems to have some seat kids out, and Commissioner Lane also said that she was unable to attend tonight, so excuse for the day. And again, because President Greenfield was out, I will be taking over students for tonight. Can I ask someone please for an approval of the agenda for this evening? So,
second.
yes.
Ringmore, yes. Commissioner Weaver,
Yes.
Commissioner Wells,
Yes.
Commissioner Weber,
Yes.
Thank you. Moving on. Do you have anybody as a visitor here today, either on Zoom? We have George Russell, who's here with us.
No statements.
No statements? Anybody on Zoom? None. Thank you. Moving on to communications. Communications from staff, please.
Okay, we didn't have too much. Most of the information we put in the reports from the different various departments of the park district. Just a couple of notable things I wanted to mention. We have since our last regular meeting in June, we've had the pickleball tournament, which was also a fundraiser, which went very well. We had 20 teams with 40 players. And a really nice evening out of our team. Kate really did a lot of work on that, and it came together very well. And then we had the wine tasting event down at the beach, and Jennifer did a great job with really taking care of a lot of the details and planning that, and that was also well attended. And I felt that that event is something that's probably going to grow in the future if we continue to do that. And that's really all that I had. Noah or Josh, if you have anything under communication for staff? No?
The playground installer for West Playground has got a hold of us. They plan on starting next week. The playground equipment was delivered on Thursday last week, and they'll start on the 2nd or so. So they'll be here next week.
That's pretty exciting. And as I mentioned the one email, if you thought we would do a ribbon cutting for that, we could probably plan one for the 3rd or 4th week of August. And that's going to be, it's only all play structure. We're not doing the whole playground, but the play structure is most of that playground. So it's going to be pretty substantial for West Park.
We did, what are
So it is a neighborhood park. The school there, the safe haven. They use it as well during the day, but it's a neighborhood park. And then when there's baseball going on, the siblings are sometimes playing.
Okay.
Yeah, tons of use during the baseball games.
Yeah.
That's my kids used to when my son played.
Okay. So, yeah, we can send notice for the folks who are around there. Okay.
Very good.
Else from staff?
So that's all we have to see.
We are moving right along. All right. Finance, administration, and committee.
Yeah, we did not meet in the interim between the committee as a whole and this meeting tonight. The biggest thing, was that spreadsheet that Josh and I sent to everyone and discussed at the last meeting. Are there any follow-up questions from that? Okay. Yeah, that was kind of the biggest thing. Just spent a little bit of time just kind of fine tuning that at the moment. And yes, we need to get something on the docket here over the next couple weeks to discuss further.
Thank you. Parks and Beach Committee, that's me. I'm gonna tap you next, but, John, because things look like they're coming along relatively quickly, for the beach access project. I just signed off on a relatively large check tonight for the contractor, which is good. And it looks like within the next couple of weeks, that project could be wrapping up. There's still gonna be a lot of cleanup or ancillary work that needs to be done in terms of installing handrails and so forth, but the bricks are done. They look absolutely gorgeous. And Jonathan, I'll see who's more side to that.
Sure, you hit the highlights for the most part. The two outstanding items, probably that won't be finished in the next couple of weeks, are the handrails, as you mentioned, and the gate, which is a custom ironwork piece. So those two will take a little bit longer. However, we'll be able to reopen the pathway and terraces without having, without the need to have those completely finished. So they really kept saying by the end of this week, although kind of their history, I would say next week for our contractor Copenhagen to really finish up they're working on they call the treads, the stair, the tiered stairs with the pathway with the bricks. And they're getting close to finishing up that, and then they need to do the top portion of that pathway. And then, like as you mentioned, the bricks are finished. There's a few that we need to replace, but they look good. They're the ones that we have all been placed out there, and so it's nearing completion, and it's going to, I think, look really good after about a week and a half or so. Residents really notice a big difference.
And I have to say, all of the guys working down there are so nice. They're so cordial. They're helpful. I was like sneaking in, the gate was open. I wanted to take a picture of my brick. They're coming. They're like, oh, do you want me to clean it off? I'm like, no, you do your stuff. Really, really nice. Great people.
I'm glad to hear that.
And things have been very accommodating in terms of moving the registration area. It looks like down from midway through down to the bottom. The brickworks.
We moved it again. We moved it today to the top. So part of the problem is, we're getting sort of like the non-residents come in before noon, they're getting all the way down to the bottom. And then they say, well, sorry, you can't come in until noon. I gotta do the walk and stand back up the roadway. So we've rerouted the electric to the top, and now that top terrace, they call it the northernmost terrace on the north side of the access road, now the fence is opened up there, we're able to put a table and roll on for our attendants out there. So that just started this afternoon. That's going to be a better location for them.
Right. And John shared with the preliminary budget as to how things look. We do know that we are going to be slightly over, even with our contingency, not just because of the stone, but because of other work that has to be done. At least at this point, if I'm interpreting this correctly, the things that look like they're being redone, such as bricks that are being taken out and posts that are being installed, that's really looking like it's more of a contractor side. It's not things that are being impactful to us.
Right. There's no sort of change order for some of the things that Copenhagen has to review. There's some, efficiency, questions to some of their methods, where they had to go back and redo some areas, but we're not paying for that. We're not paying for redoing the bottom few treads that they had to go back and change, or the area at the top terrace where they had to remove some bricks and put posts in and then redo that area. So we're not paying for that. Things that we are paying for as far as change orders are the removal of those concrete steps, which were unseen when the wooden steps came out, and it was substantial. So that was over 10,000 for removing that, and then putting some fabric and rock and skirting on the stairway that had to be added after that. And it's a little bit more than the curb itself. We've added some more curb to the project, and so that totals about it's about 50. I think that was about 5,300, but the village is going to pay about 1,500 of that. chip in, so that will bring that down a little bit. So we were at, with those extra costs, we're at about 360,000 right now, and again, project 350. So, and there's still a few more costs that are out there that are gonna come in, but, as we talked about, if we go to 365 or 370, that means, we received 350,000 from the state, and we're spending 15 or 20,000 of the park district money, to get a $370,000 improvement. That's gonna be, a really nice addition for, probably the next 25 years. So not too bad.
And one of really the tail end things that I noticed was, budget as for plantings in the field and so forth, those are still looking more than the schedule or? because
Yeah,
of the weather?
So bringing they'll need more watering, but they're bringing, the landscapers are coming in. Right now, it looks like they're tentatively scheduled for Wednesday to come in, start doing a lot of that work. So it'll be just a lot of watering. It's not a great time of the year to, for the planting to go in. But
Right. This last kind of weather. Okay, so we'll come back to this to talk about when we're seeing more, hard and fast times for things getting completed as to what we're going to do to actually open this up. You're saying that we can open this up without a camera still.
Yeah. Even without the gate, and we can use chain for that. And safety for the railing, we didn't have a steel railing there before, and that has been open for all these years. So we don't have to have that on, in order to open, so that will, that can wait to be installed when it arrives, but it wouldn't be worth keeping the path closed, wait for the end. So I feel like we should be able to have it open early August. We should be able to open up, all our terrace areas, the pathway.
Great, and then as you had mentioned too, we changed the time for the beach for residents to be able to come in, so that's good.
Yeah, and that's one of the agenda items, but yes, there's a memo in there for Tim, and that's been pretty well received, so that's been, now it moved up a little bit, so now residents can come in, certainly do build some.
All right, Friends of Lakeville Parks.
We had a meeting July 19th, have some highlights, the bricks for the beach. I mean, I guess now that they're still being sold until the project is completed.
Yeah, the discussion was to keep doing that as long as there's a demand, so maybe we would install 2 times a year in the fall and in the spring, we would continue to add bricks down the road if there's still demand and interest.
And then other highlights, so the party that was done Memorial Day weekend, the quarters, they're talking about doing another Labor Day weekend. Then we netted, I think you mentioned that already, netted 2K for the pickleball tournament. The friends are redoing the website. They're likely to go to Wix or Squarespace to have better control, and then it'll also help with donations. They won't have to pay the 1%, because they're going to go to a different way to capture the money. Pretty much it. With the wine and the prints, they're looking, and I'm not sure if they showed up at Wilfenia this last Sunday because I couldn't make it, but they're looking to go to the Wilfenia, so they'll be at Wilfenia selling the prints and possibly the wine as well.
Yeah, Brad and Kevin and the artists were there for the concert, but we sold one print.
Okay.
Somebody that Kevin strong arm, one of his friends, buy a print, but we sold one print out there on Sunday, so.
Any wine.
That's what I heard of, but after the wine event out at the beach, the wine tasting event, I guess there were, I think, was it 5 additional orders that were placed online within a week?
I just thought maybe even impulse purchase on the wine.
I thought that would be a good setting actually for that. So maybe this was a little bit lower attended concert. I'm not sure if it was too hot or too country, but it was a country band, or country music, but it was not as well attended as the week before. So hopefully, the next few it'll pick up again. We'll have more people out there. The artist said he should be able to come to most all of them, not all of the rest of the concerts. And the other thing I was going to mention, you mentioned the quarters. That was a benefit for Sunrise, which I think, if I recall right, brought in somewhere around 6,000 that they raised. And the one that they're talking about for Labor Day weekend again would, I believe, be a benefit for the beach.
Yeah.
And I
There's
didn't,
another meeting like August 16th or something like that coming up. So,
I didn't mean to skip over, facilities and program coordinator, but that might not be difficult.
We are working on scheduling a meeting, for maybe the second week of one.
Any other comments from commissioners? No. And president's report, in lieu of home review here, there's a president's report. And in review of the minutes from the June 28th, 2021 regular board meeting. Motion to approve those minutes.
so second.
Roll call, please. Commissioner Wheeler? Yes. Commissioner Raymore? Yes. Commissioner Bluff?
Yes.
Commissioner Welch?
Yes.
Commissioner Weber?
Yes.
For the minutes of July 12th, a committee of the whole meeting. And there are a motion to approve those minutes.
So moved. Second.
Please. Wheeler? Yes. Commissioner Raymore? Yes. Commissioner Bluff?
Yes.
Commissioner Welch? Yes. Commissioner Weber?
Yes.
For the consent agenda, we have the ACH payments of June 29th through July 22nd, 2020, or excuse me, July 26th, 2021 payables. And we have a motion to approve the ACH payments for the time period.
So moved.
Discussion. Roll call, please. Commissioner Wheeler? Yes. Commissioner Raymond? Yes. Commissioner Reader?
Yes. Yes.
Commissioner Weber?
Yes.
And then we have an invoice schedule for the period ending June 29th through 26th. Is that something simple? I think it was all different. That's all part of it. Never mind. All right, so the next agenda item is the year-to-date and month-to-date financial report for the summer.
Yeah, so in the general fund for June, the net gain of $632,000, which is under budget $82,716. Revenue was below budget by $113,000. That's going to do property taxes, food receipts, expenses were below budget, $30,000. The rec fund, the net gain was $300,000, and it's for one better than that. The budgeted net loss of $219,000. For year to date for the general fund, revenues below budget $3,000. For the rec funds, revenue it's over budget under $20,000. Any questions?
Hey, Josh, is it just like a languaging thing? Net gain of 300,000 versus a net law or budgeted net loss of 219. So is the net really 519,000, or should that be budgeted net gain of 219? And the difference is 81.
My guess is it's a typo.
Okay, that's yeah. Just so we can just amend that for the minutes.
On the revenue, getting into the weeds a little bit, I'm sure budgeting was difficult this year, with the pandemic last year. But there were some swings in the racket sports, like 6,000 over budget for paddle and 8,000 below pickleball. Is there something going on there that I don't understand why there's such a swing for those two sports? That seemed to be the most significant.
Yeah. I'm not sure swing of things for those. Definitely look into it. Back to them.
Yeah, Jim would be the best one,
I know.
unfortunately, that year,
I know.
Stevie,
Yeah.
but, for that one, so we were, very conservative in a lot of that budgeting. Because of the, where we were at last fall with COVID, so. But,
So just a curious question.
yeah, no, that's a good question. We will follow up and probably reply all, fill out the commissioner so that you have a little bit more clarity on that.
Well, and I just looked at some of it too, and I just, it's great, dance being 32,000 or 35,000 above budget, and, camps being 38,000 above budget, just kudos to everybody,
Yeah.
down here.
It's really gone well, the fact that, we've gone, from phase 4 to, the bridge phase and then phase 5, that's increased our camps, it's, really, had a positive effect on our revenue that's gonna, show up here for us, but, it's definitely still a challenging time, but that can also still go back the other way, we have to see, in the fall, if things start to go down again, or it affects, some of our programming, so I think it was probably better that we did take a conservative approach.
But I think it's kudos to you that we're so far aware that we're able to pull off those programs and meet the needs for the public, along with that. Reduce revenue, usually reduce staff, so.
Yeah.
And it's great because, anticipate that everybody on staff who's doing everything they could to be, I don't know if you're proactive, but it's so often used, but you anticipated what would happen next, and was ready, we were all ready to meet their challenges, so there's those bridges there that was not set, so.
Yeah, I agree, and I was on staff meetings this morning with a pretty large group of staff, going over COVID issues and concerns, we're talking about fall and, we need math for preschool, parents don't want math, that sort of thing. But that's one of the things I pointed out to staff, was I was impressed with the job they've done in the past year under this COVID challenge. Even a lot of going back to last year decisions made by the board and my staff, to be able to open the pool and the beach to be able to run a camp, and a lot of our districts didn't, but anything, we're in any program, just closed their facility. So I think we were in a lot better shape going into this year, knowing how to operate under those conditions still safely, and having the staff that were still engaged last year, the lifeguards, all the different staff, and then bringing them back again this year, I think it put us in a lot better position. So I think, it's really hats off to the staff that, that been doing this work for the last year and a half, and really keeping things safe and our day camp, a large number of kids are outdoors every day. We really don't have any cases of COVID or problems, with that you hear about. But it's the staff is really doing a great job.
It's very anything else on the financial report? Moving on to the purchase cards.
Hey, I'm sorry, just real quick, Josh, can you just make a formatting change going forward? On some of the graphs, you have, actual, budgeted actual, and then difference. Can you just throw an actual going forward so we can have a better kind of apples to apples comparison?
Yeah. I can do that.
I think that would be helpful. Thanks.
Close this one up, then we need a motion to accept the financial reports as presented with those additional amendments and the information that will come back on to vote and have. Second. Yes.
Mr. Raymore. Yes. Mr. Reader.
Yes.
Mr. Welch.
Yes.
Mr. Weber.
Yes.
Next up are the purchase cards. We have all of the purchases that are attached there too. Staff recommendations to ratify purchase cards. May I have a motion please to ratify first start payment of $27,616.23. So
Second.
Commissioner Bueller? Yes. Commissioner Raymore? Yes. Commissioner Reader?
Yes.
Commissioner Bluff?
Yes.
Commissioner Weber?
Yes.
For our new business items, the Artesian Park basketball court bid.
Yeah, basically, this has been brought up, was identified as one of our capital needs, and improvements, in that 10-year, project, actually kind of next, to redo the basketball court and Artesian, resurface that. With some of the discussion back in the spring in one of our meetings, a board member had suggested we take a look at that for this year, because it is a safe outdoor activity that we could, offer the residents if we were to do that. And the direction at that time from President Mossberger was to go ahead and get bids and bring it back to the board. So, NOAA has contacted four, it's kind of noted in the memo there, 4 different contractors who have responded, and submitted bids. As you can see, there's a low bid of 3,200 from Shell, who was one that Noah just found online and had reached out to, but doesn't have any experience with sports or anything that we're aware of. And we haven't worked with them before. Evans and Sons was a higher bid. They happen to be the low bidder on the Blair Park pickleball resurfacing job. They also were the low bidder that did the Artesian tennis courts. Their bid is higher. If you look at their bid, which is attached, they were recommending that fiberglass grid, which is similar to what we're putting on it was exactly what we're using for the Blair Park pickleball courts, and that is supposed to extend the life of the surface without the cracks reflecting through the asphalt. So even though that was substantially higher, 7,465, it's still under the budget of 9,500. And my opinion, and I think Noah felt the same, was that it would probably be better to spend a little bit more money to do a better job and have something that's going to last for quite a few years longer, in our opinion, and work with a contractor that we're familiar with. And Noah, if you want to, I don't know if you have anything to add at this point.
No, John and I discussed this, and I do concur that it would be better in this case to spend a little bit extra. Again, go with the contract we've used before in the past. We know there were, we're using them again, so they're already going to be on site. They agreed to include painting of the keys, if they're going to be painting here, that's work with that part of the price of this. And it just makes sense to get a longer lifespan out of it, rather than continuing to grow money as patch.
Is it just the way that the bids came in, or is there a significant difference between materials and so forth that Evans is suggesting that's why there's the price difference between that and Shell?
The part of it has to do with the grid material that they're being using. That does include a little bit more than 700 grid. As far as the base price of the 57, I think part of it has to do with their just better experience at this type of work, so they charge more.
One of the things, so we did not budget for that for this year. I think some of the discussion, or recall, was at the time we were receiving, the check, an extra impact fee check, so there was some discussion about that, and also discussion about the bond that was taken out last year for $889,000. A portion of that was used for the parking lot, and then another portion for the revetment, the extension of the revetment over the winter. So what is remaining is about $472,000 in that bond money. And again, for many, you can probably convert it, but I think the intention was, capital projects and improvements, things like that, when that bond was taken out. So that's another area that if you decide you want to do this year, that's where we can take the money, but it's not in our current budget.
because this was a 22.
22, this is the next year. That's your other option, if you'd like to wait and do it in 22. When we plan to do it, then we would include it in the budget in the fall.
How dire of a need do we have at this point? This is just something that.
Well, I think there's a need for anything outside, quite frankly. Under the pandemic, for any sort of, opportunities or activities we can offer for our residents to be able to do things more safely outside and inside. I think if we can do it, I think it's a really good time, and a good idea to do it.
When would they do the work?
Did Evans indicate to you?
Not a specific date, I really plan on starting this project, mid-August, so probably sometime along the same time frame during August, mid-August.
Does this have any impact on, this is more a general question, but any impact of the revision of products or anything else with using this particular basketball park? This is just for.
I was going to speak for 200%, but even if I don't think there's a program that would be affected by it.
So it really boils down to, do we want to move up? We had this anticipated for 22, do we want to move this up to now and use the bond and then be able to pay for this in the fall, for the fall next year?
And there were no other, plan to use this other 472,000 in the bond. Is that just in case?
Again, one of our early, one of our discussions, during this project, we knew we were doing a small contingency on Sunrise project, so that came up as a possibility. If that project is over, that some of it could come out of that bond money. As far as last summer, it was taken out before I started. I don't know if there were any other bigger things that you remember that we talked about.
We had the ability to borrow at the time, it was strongly recommended that we borrow at the time that we did, but now that we spent everything.
I think it was very good rate.
Yeah. Yes, so, yes, things came out where it was fortuitous that we had the money there because of the, parking lot that we had to pay for. And we also did the wetlands, so we had two very large ticket items that came up. This is still a good sized ticket, but that's what it's like. Further discussion? All right, then I guess, someone like to move that we.
I
Move the proposal for Evans, I wanted to make sure. I wanted to make sure I remember what it came. Move the proposal for Evans and Sons of High Top in the amount of $7,465 to resurface the basketball court at Fusion Park at 7.
Second.
Commissioner Beal? Yes. Commissioner Rainwater? Yes. Commissioner Reader?
Yes.
Commissioner Wells? Yes. Commissioner Weber?
Yes.
Sunrise Park and Beach resident or non-resident towers.
Those were, as you can see in the memo, those were adjusted last year under COVID and under the capacity restrictions that the park district was facing. Those restrictions have been lifted, and so the capacity is really not an issue. There was some questions and concerns brought up, I think, at the last meeting about it, and so we decided to compromise instead of in the past the non-resident hours were all day; they were the same as the resident hours. They just paid a daily fee. That was changed last year, and then at the 3 o'clock reset, and our suggestion this year was bringing it back from noon to 7, and we discussed that at the Park and Beach Committee, who approved that, and then we would see, possibly working our way back to, the same hours in the future as what we've had in the past. That's what the Army Corps of Engineers would like to see, especially if they're doing, even with the project 1122 or any other types of projects, they want to make sure. And that it's available to all state residents, not just, residents at a certain time, but they did understand under the COVID that it was sort of a, short-term decision that was made. So this is a compromise. We're linking goes on less than hours, and there's, room in the future to change it back to the normal hours that it was before.
Community comments? We have. And any correspondence?
We don't have any correspondence to see. Yeah, President Greenfield did, stop by the village and sign that, which, reminds me I have not received a final copy, I was gonna send that out, so I'll make a note to request that through.
That would be the joint letter from the village and our district or commercial water.
Correct, yeah, outlining a lot of the concerns, and talking about the future of it, all the expectations.
This was record time for us.
Yes, yeah.
Is there anything else? I think we've gone through everything on the agenda.
No, thank you.
All right, so I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Roll call, please. Commissioner Wheeler? Yes. Commissioner Raymore? Yes. Commissioner Peter?
Yes.
Commissioner Welch? Commissioner Webb?
Yes.
Thank you.